So nearby Nisha, what was your favourite 90s era driving game?
Driving game?
Mm-hmm.
I was obsessed with Driver.
Driver.
But I was one of those people that drove properly. I was one of those people that stopped at traffic lights, I'm sorry.
Not like nothing says criminal badass like obeying the laws of traffic.
I like driving, okay?
Wipeout, which is apparently stylized as lowercase whip, uppercase E, apostrophe out, because how 90s does that sound, is a video game from the 90s that revolves around whipping hypersonic megacars around a floating track in like 5 miles into the sky at several thousand miles an hour. Remember Wipeout?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the thing we all remember about Wipeout though is the soundtrack. Why does it go that hard?
I had, the one I had was Wipeout 2097.
I can't wait to get copyright struck. Why does it go that fucking hard? It's
the one song I always listened out for on Wipeout 2097 was The Prodigy.
Oh, well, I was about to say let's play that, but no, we're not going to play a Prodigy song.
So I was like, it was one of those songs I was like, I know this one. So I'd always like listen out for it, like, yay!
Thumping 90s techno. Thumping 90s techno that was like, you know, doing its best to sound hype coming from the tinny, shitty CRT speakers it was no doubt plugged into. But did you know that the game Wipeout owes pretty much its entire existence to Angelina Jolie?
What?
Exactly. So do you remember the film Hackers?
No.
Okay, so anyone who doesn't remember the film Hackers, we're going to put lots of clips in of Hackers because it is the most 90s cringe shit you've ever seen. And in that film, Angelina Jolie plays a character called Acid Burn. And she looks exactly as 90s as you're imagining. And just guys, just so you know like what level of like, you know, quality we're talking here, here's what Matthew Lillard looks like in the film.
Wow, we are fried.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, what are those glasses?
You know what those glasses are? Those glasses are fucking 90s as all balls. But the film is, like I said, a cult classic because it was released at that time where people thought the internet was magic. Do you remember that period where it's like the internet was this new nascent technology and people were like, remember like, you know, the era where they called it, unironically, the information superhighway.
Imagine a world where every word ever written, every picture ever painted, and every film ever shot could be viewed instantly in your home via an information superhighway.
There's that glorious period in like the late 80s, early 90s where you had like films just thinking that computers were magical and they could do anything.
Well, they are. They still are, really.
We don't when we were having films though where they were pretending like you could do anything, like you could hack. I think the Hackers is where the phrase "hack the planet" comes from.
Welcome to our show, Hack the Planet. Hack the Planet!
Because you have like this team of hackers like just doing all sorts of crazy bullshit.
That's pretty cool.
And during the course of that film, there is a scene set in like an underground like techno club, like, do you know, like where they're dancing like the Matrix or something.
Yeah.
Where Angelina Jolie's character is seen playing a video game with what might be the most convoluted balls to the walls control scheme. Like it's like a fucking pod she steps into. It's like an arcade machine.
Okay.
On that arcade machine, you see a pretty cool looking video game that looks suspiciously similar to Wipeout. And Nisha, let's just step into the shoes now of a film director in the 90s, and they're making a film about computer games and the internet, and you have a female character, and you have a male main character. What do you think happens when you have the female character doing quite well in the video game? What do you think the male character does in response to seeing a woman who's good at a video game?
I would get angry, get salty, complain about it.
They're all very valid responses. But no, what he does is he gets surprised, like, wow, a girl who's good at video games. How is she good at video games? Surely her vagina would get in the way or something. And the main character goes over and he's just a huge misogynistic shithead of like, huh, pretty good for a girl.
That's a nice score for a girl.
Think you can do better?
And after the main character is finished insulting Angelina Jolie, he jumps onto the machine, smashes her high score, which so impresses her, he ends up smashing her as well. And if you're currently thinking, folks at home, that sounds unrealistic, I should point out that the guy who plays the main character in Hackers ended up banging Angelina Jolie in real life. They ended up dating after the film.
Well, it looks like I'm on top.
I was hoping the story wasn't going to go in the direction of, yeah, he smashed her high score, but then she came back and smashed his high score.
No, because Nisha, this is a 90s movie, like written by a man, starring a man. So of course, the woman is impressed that the man is good at video games.
Big sigh.
Yeah.
If you can hear it in the microphone, just like sighing in the distance.
Yeah, because that's like one of those things like, wow, you're so good at video games.
I win, you wear a dress on our date.
And if I win, so do you.
Like, but ladies watching at home, why not let us know how realistic you think it is that a guy insulting your hobby would make you want to sleep with him?
No. Just X'd out on that one.
Like, it's just one of those awful tropes in media, isn't it? Of like, I think there is like a supercut out there somewhere of like male characters in media being amazed that women know what video games are. Because I think there's like an episode like CSI or NCIS or something where it's about video games, and they have like a playthrough of a level on screen, and they have like the female character who plays video games holding her hands out pretending to play like this because they don't know how else to show that a woman would play video games, so they have her like mimicking the motions in her hands, something nobody has ever done.
Kind of reminds me like on, this is more recent, on EastEnders when they're just pretending to play games and you can just tell. So it's like when they've got a mug of tea and you can tell there's no weight to it.
No, it's like when they're holding a controller and they do this. Whoa! Like, so like when they're trying to play in a racing game, they turn all the way in, like, and they go mental.
You know what? I used to do that when I was younger.
Yeah, when you were like little. No, like when you have fully grown adults going like this. Or my other favourite is when they use generic sound effects because they didn't get the rights to the sound for a game, but they did just put the images on screen.
Yeah.
Which I'm not sure we'll be able to find like examples of for a clip, but people at home know what I'm talking about.
I think the only game or whatever you can get away with just like button mashing is if they're playing a fighting game, because that would look realistic because you do button mash.
Yeah.
That's the only way you can play those games.
Well, see, we can't not mention though that amazing like BBC News clip where it's like they need like B-roll of a guy typing on a computer and he's just typing like this.
The science is, she says, the really important questions have been ignored.
And then I think there's that legendary like extra in a James Bond movie he's supposed to be brushing, but he's like not he's brushing like thin hair, and obviously just zoom in and see he's not doing anything.
Yeah.
Oh, but like, I love like going back and watching that old. It's something I recommend people go do. Like, you know, Hackers is a film it's set in never seen in a dance club. When they film scenes like that, they don't generally have music playing. They just tell people pretend there's music, and we'll like pump the music in later. Just watch extras in the background, not dancing on beat, because they don't know what they're doing. It's so funny.
I can't sleep, I hope I stay awake, 'cause I've been running all day.
I don't know if I know we've mentioned it in conversation, but I can never remember if we actually spoke about it in videos.
Okay.
Because obviously it's the same sorts of conversations, but Titanic 2 is...
Okay.
I've got like Adam next to me, you know exactly where I'm going with this.
Titanic 2.
They clearly didn't have the budget for many extras, so there's one scene where there's like two characters talking to each other and the same extra is just running back and forth in the background.
That reminds me, there's that great bit in like Iron Fist where like, it's one of those things, it's a little moment, but it stands out as just like, it typifies like the lack of budget and care that went into making it. When like a character walks in and says, okay, we need to have a conversation, and they literally just walk into the corner of the same set and start having a conversation. It's like they couldn't even bother to go to another room. It's so bad. But bringing it back to lowercase whip, uppercase E, apostrophe out. Do you remember who made Wipeout?
Activision?
It wasn't Activision, it was Psygenosis, known better in the UK as Studio Liverpool. And the version of Wipeout seen in Hackers was pretty much just a tech demo. And they were told, like, make it as bombastic as possible because it needs to be shown on the big screen. So, you know, it's not really reflective of what you could do in Wipeout, but the basics of the game are there.
So what does Angelina Jolie have to do with all this?
Well, a lot of people, including PlayStation, were very intrigued by the game that you see on screen. And when they found out, oh, that's a tech demo for something that actually exists, and it's a company that you've got under contract. Places like, holy shit, make Wipeout, make it real right now. And they just funneled a bunch of money into Psygenosis and went, make it. And they doubled down on the aesthetic of the film by just like absolutely cramming it full of. The thing is, I don't know if this is going to be like copyrighted or not, because I'm not sure if it was made for the game or he's an actual artist.
You can kind of get away with some game soundtracks.
We might be able to, yeah, go on.
Hopefully.
What else have we got on there? It's so 90s, isn't it? It's so 90s. But one of the reasons I like this story is because Wipeout is one of the games Sony used to advertise the PlayStation as a console for adults. And hopefully we can track down the footage of this, but there's this amazing news report from the BBC, I think, where they're talking about there's this new console called the PlayStation. And what Sony did is they just sent PlayStations with Wipeout to nightclubs.
Oh, really?
And people would play Wipeout in nightclubs with thumping techno in the background.
My God, that's so cool.
And you just have all this footage of people 90s as fuck in nightclubs in the UK. They're like, yeah, this is the future of video gaming right here. It's like, yeah, boy.
I can imagine it. I can just see it.
What's the thing? You look at Wipeout and the soundtrack. It is very 90s, but also quite adult. Right? It's very distinctly different in tone and presentation from stuff like Mario or Sonic. It's a distinctly more adult slant to video games.
Yeah, I went to the video game museum recently,
yeah.
And I had another go because I'd not played it since probably the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh yeah, Wipeout, I've not played this in years. I'm so bad because it's just dum 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 dum. It's because it's so fast.
Yeah, but though Nisha.
All I play it is to hear Firestarter.
Oh, it's so dumb. But I'm going to give a big tip to people at home though, the all-purpose dance. So have I ever talked about my all-purpose dance before that my friend invented?
Maybe?
Okay, so my friend invented the all-purpose dance. Well, it's a variation of the classic British dancer, Big Fish, Little Fish, Cardboard Box. And we all know.
Yeah.
So anyone who doesn't know Big Fish, Little Fish, Cardboard Box is a generic dance move that you do listen to techno music of Big Fish, Little Fish, Cardboard Box.
Yeah.
It's it's very simple dance, but then when you've got music playing, it's the best thing it worked, but the one my friend invented, and I don't know why he came up with, but it is. You do one arm pump, close arm pumps, and then you dance forward.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I recognise that,
I've had us all do this in the club.
Yeah,
so,
I've seen you do that. Yeah.
So in motion, it's
gotta be a gift now.
if it's not, it will be.
I'm also thinking of I don't know what it was with that woman who does that weird dance, and it's really, do you know what I mean? That blonde woman.
Yeah, it's that shit post, isn't it? Of I'm going to teach you how to do modern dance, and he just smash cuts to her just going crazy.
I can imagine her dancing to that sort of music as well.
Oh man, I was thinking, what video game song then do you think would be would get people on the dance floor the quickest in a nightclub? So let's do that. Let's take advantage of the new setup that we've got. And audience at home, let us know what song you think would get people hype on the dance floor. And while you're thinking, leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that nonsense. But also, check out our Patreon.
Video game songs, yeah.
Yeah, what songs? I've got one for me. So I know a song that would get me onto the fucking dance floor almost immediately. And it is Gangplank Galleon from one of the Donkey Kong games. No, you think? You wait for the breakdown, Nisha. You wait for the breakdown.
I'm imagining you doing that dance now.
It works for everything. Look at that, the breakdown's coming.
Oh my god.
But wait for it though. So that's the thing where people run into a dance floor, but then. Oh god,
yeah,
that will get you so fucking hype.
Yeah.
You got a T-pose. But then when it gets going, it's just where is it? So that will get people hype.
Yeah.
Well, go on, Nisha, what's one for you think?
I always remember one of the games, I've mentioned it a few times, but I used to go on the menu screen just to listen to one of the songs.
Let's go, what is it?
Type in Dragon Ball GT, Trunks, Super Saiyan.
So Dragon Ball, GT, Trunks, Super Saiyan... GT, you said?
GT, yeah.
Is that a game?
It's the final bout one.
Oh, Dragon Ball GT Final Bout Super Saiyan Trunks theme?
Yeah.
Alright, let's go. This is what you
Just doing the dance.
These things to get people like hype on the dance floor. I can see it.
It like changes.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
This is like my favourite, my favourite fight was with Trunks, so I just like the music.
Yeah, that would get people onto the dance floor, like the Super Saiyan theme's like number 3, let's go. Well, we can't not mention the classic, which is Waluigi Pinball. Like, Waluigi Pinball is the song that like me and Lucas will always play when we play Smash Bros.
Oh yeah.
It's just, why is it so high? Just fucking Waluigi Pinball. And it's why is it the hypest? Why is Waluigi Pinball just the hypest shit? It's so good.
I really like, I don't know if it's one you get you on the dance floor, but that, is it Marina who battle in Pokemon Shield?
Oh, let's have a look. Marina.
Is it Marina? She's like the gothic, the dark Pokemon.
Marnie.
Marnie, that's
the Marnie battle theme.
I think that's pretty epic. And it drops.
Well, it starts slow, as all good songs do. You got to build to a drop. Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, this will get me hyped.
Get people on the dance floor. Well, I think like any song from Pokemon will get you down.
Yeah. All the battle ones are pretty epic.
Like, all the battle ones are super good, yeah. But then you can't beat. I think it's this one, like the Hoenn theme.
Oh yeah.
The little like fucking MIDI trumpets. I love the picture they use as well. It's just a fucking bird.
High quality as well.
Such a HD bird, but. Any more you think of?
Any more songs, guys?
Yeah. Additional people sat off camera, like you're just looking at your phone instead of working.
The Halo 3 theme, but the Mjolnir remix.
The Mjolnir remix, okay, we can whack that on. Halo 3. The Mjolnir mix. Which was done by, I think, like some famous dude. Because he's on like Guitar Hero or something.
Is it?
Yeah. Like hell, goddamn yeah. It never got better. Halo never got better than this theme.
Can you find the final boss music from Mega Bomberman for the Mega Drive?
Mega Bomberman boss theme. Is this the one?
I think so.
It's a bit aggressive.
Sure it gets up.
It is already going. It is very going in the minute.
So I'm not sure if that get me on the dance floor. That's the kind of song where it plays and you go for a drink. It's too fast.
Sounds like you're running away, to be fair.
That's too intense, that. And someone's going to mention like Undertale and stuff, so we know those.
I just thought of that one, because that's what I've recently been listening to on my Spotify, because it's just so hype.
Well, I think the only other one has got to be... It's got to be... No, we're all missing the absolute fucking champion, and it's Gourmet Race.
Gourmet Race?
Kirby. Thing is, have you ever heard like the Snoop Dogg remix for this?
I've never even heard this.
It's so good. Why does it work so well? Listen to how well it goes. The bit that always gets me though is the fucking breakdown.
How does it work so well?
It's like, why is Snoop flowing with Kirby?
I hope he's seen this.
I think he has, because Snoop Dogg's just like, he don't give a fuck anymore. He's doing side quests, isn't it?
Oh, that's amazing.
You know what, folks? Let us know in the comments what your favourite is.